This man hears his daughter call another man dad and immediately rushes after them to find out what is going on. Soon after, he discovers that his wife is being intimate with another man, and even the daughter is not biologically his. Betrayed by his wife and falsely accused at work, he loses his job and falls seriously ill. Even stray dogs on the street receive care, but no one shows concern when he begins coughing up blood. In the end, he dies with anger and hatred. Memories from his previous life flash through Liam's mind, and he will never forget those dark experiences. After leaving that dang Earth, Liam is reborn as a noble in a different world where magic and technology are both highly advanced. Liam decides he will no longer live with kindness as he once did. In this new life, he swears to become a villain. He stops trusting women and spends many years developing robot technology. Liam now commands a powerful army of robots that attacks passing fleets, and he has grown into a force even more terrifying than the villains. Liam laughs maniacally. He is eager to complete the development of a machine capable of traveling between worlds so that he can return to Earth and take revenge on his ex-wife with his own hands. In that moment, a storm of emotions crashes over Liam, and he finds himself once again recalling his past life. When Liam was still on Earth, he worked late into the night every single day. Yet whenever he saw his wife and daughter, all his exhaustion would vanish. Liam gave everything for his family. When his daughter said she wanted a dog, even though he was severely sleep deprived, he still used his precious rest time to take her out to buy a puppy. Unfortunately, the world is not kind to those who are good. Liam's boss often scolded him, calling him useless, and the negative emotions nearly crushed him. Even his subordinates looked down on him. In order to earn enough to support his family, Liam had no choice but to endure everything in silence and didn't dare to quit his job. Liam's job took up almost all of his time. Occasionally, he would message his friends to talk about his favorite robot models, which was one of the few ways he could relax. Liam always believed that as long as he kept working hard and stayed kind, everything would eventually get better. That belief shattered when he accidentally saw his wife acting intimately with another man. Liam tried to convince himself to stay calm and have faith, but he soon realized his wife had lied about her plans for the day and deliberately hid the existence of that man. Doubt began to grow in Liam's heart, and he started following his wife. What happened next completely shattered his expectations. His wife took their daughter to meet the man she was having an affair with, and to Liam's disbelief, the little girl called that man her father. Liam's state of mind collapsed as he realized he had never seen his daughter look so genuinely happy. Before Liam had time to figure out what was really going on, he received another devastating piece of news. His daughter was in a car accident and needed a blood transfusion. Only his wife's blood type was a match. Liam searched online for information about blood types and fell into despair. Based on genetics, it is impossible for him and his wife to have a child with that blood type. This meant Liam and the girl share no biological connection. Liam was furious, but when he confronted his wife, he was met with accusations instead. She blamed him for not spending enough time with the family. Liam felt deeply wronged. He had worked long overtime hours only to provide a better life for them. Yet his wife continued to criticize him, calling him a failure who had achieved nothing after years of work. She showed no guilt over her affair and pushed all the blame onto Liam. Even the daughter Liam had raised for so many years ended up preferring her biological father. All of this made Liam seem pathetic. Everything he had given and sacrificed in the past now felt like nothing more than a cruel joke. Liam's tragedy was far from over. He was accused of making a mistake at work by transferring company funds to a stranger's account. Liam did not remember ever doing such a thing, but the transfer records clearly showed that it was completed using his computer. That day, his boss scolded him for the last time. Soon after, he lost his job and was left with a massive compensation debt to the company. His wife also filed a lawsuit demanding alimony, with no other way to make a living. Liam had no choice but to work at a building site just to earn enough to get by. Though still alive, he felt more painful than falling into hell. Due to the massive blows to his mind and body, he could no longer hold on. In his final moments, Liam could not understand how his life had ended up like this. At that moment, a higher dimensional being who called itself God appeared and delivered an even more devastating blow to Liam. The man his ex-wife had an affair with turned out to be none other than his boss. The supposed mistake at work, the money transfer, had also been a trap set by that very boss, and the funds had already ended up in his pocket. Liam was consumed by overwhelming anger. God told him he could choose to be reincarnated into a different world and begin a new life. Liam chose an interstellar world where science and technology are incredibly developed. He loves robots, and in this new life, he would become a villain who lived only for himself. In the next moment, Liam reincarnates as the only son of a noble count's family. His life finally sees a glimmer of hope. On his birthday, his mother spends a large sum of money to customize a robot wife just for him. His father makes an even crazier decision. Although he is only in his 20s, he chooses to retire and hands over all of the family assets to Liam. The couple then decides to move to the capital, which means Liam becomes the true controller of the territory. Liam feels overjoyed and decides that he will become an evil lord, ruthlessly exploiting the people in his territory. He mistakenly believes that Guide is his savior, when in fact, this higher dimensional being is extremely dangerous. Guide delights in feeding on human negative emotions. He has filled Liam's new life with numerous challenges, each one more difficult to deal with than Liam's ex-wife and former boss. The interstellar world where Liam lives is extremely dangerous, filled with pirates who survive through plunder. These pirates possess overwhelming combat power and even dare to confront national military forces. A princess named Leto leads an elite robot army into a decisive battle against the pirate Goes. However, to her shock, Goes allies with other nations to launch a joint assault on Lita's planet. As a result, Lita suffers a crushing defeat. Her homeland is nearly destroyed, and even the princess herself is reduced to being Goes' slave. Liam remains completely unaware of these events. Right now, he is only focused on Amagi, the robot wife his mother purchased for him, due to the betrayal by his former wife. Liam holds a very poor opinion of human women. However, since Amagi is a robot, she does not fall into the category he despises. Just as Liam begins exploring Amagi's various functions, the butler Brian arrives with several pieces of bad news. Many years ago, humanity was nearly destroyed by AI robots. Fortunately, a group of brave individuals stood up and ultimately led humanity to victory. Those brave people have since become nobles of the Empire. Because of their past experiences, they hold a very negative view of robots. If Liam gets too close to Amagi, it might lead to serious trouble. Liam's mother gives him a robot for a different reason. Their family is burdened with an enormous debt, and his parents gave birth to Liam as a means to escape their responsibilities, leaving the debt for him to bear. Perhaps out of a final sense of guilt, they spent a large sum to purchase an advanced robot to take care of their son. Liam feels pain upon learning the truth, but he is no longer the coward he was in his previous life. In this life, he breaks free from the control of negative emotions. Liam chooses to team up with Amagi to develop his territory. Nothing can stand in the way of his rise to power, and he is determined to crush all his enemies beneath his feet. 2 years pass, and under Amagi's management, the situation in Liam's territory improves. However, due to the territory's terrible past conditions, they still need greater changes to truly escape hardship. Liam remains in good spirits. After all, he is only 7 years old. In this world, the average person can live for several centuries, so he still has plenty of time to build his power. In between his busy schedule, Liam tries piloting a robot in combat. The officer training with him deliberately loses in order to please the young lord, which greatly displeases Liam. Under Liam's command, the officer reveals his true strength, and Liam is quickly defeated. Rather than being discouraged by failure, Liam becomes more motivated. He begins recruiting the strongest swordsman, determined to first enhance his own combat ability. Soon, a man named Yasushi catches Liam's attention. Yasushi looks somewhat unkempt and worn out. Liam has a positive impression on him. In anime, characters like this disheveled man are often secretly powerful. They usually carry emotional scars or pursue higher ideals, which is why they pay little attention to their appearance. Yasushi does not disappoint Liam. He shows his strength by slicing through several wooden stakes at incredible speed. Even Amagi cannot clearly see Yasushi's movements. This makes Liam extremely happy. He has finally found a powerful master to guide him. At night, Guide silently observes Yasushi. In truth, Yasushi is a fraud who had secretly cut through the wooden stakes in advance. Another 10 years pass, just as Guide has anticipated. Under Yasushi's guidance, Liam is set to become an ordinary fighter with no real combat strength. Even Yasushi holds no expectations for Liam. He's fully aware that he is merely a mediocre swordsman, so it is impossible for him to raise a powerful disciple. But Yasushi underestimates Liam's determination. This 10-year-old boy not only trains every day but also constantly seeks Yasushi out late at night to ask for swordsmanship advice. This greatly annoys Yasushi, who usually spends his nights shedding the facade of a strong warrior, snacking, reading manga, and enjoying life. Liam does not spend all his time practicing swordsmanship. He still sets aside time to assist Amagi in managing the territory. His work experience from his previous life proves useful here. Liam is skilled at analyzing written reports and soon notices highly irregular financial activity within the territory. After conducting a thorough investigation, Liam uncovers the truth. One of the ministers has been embezzling territory funds and even murdered a subordinate to frame the deceased as the sole culprit. To Liam, all of this feels painfully familiar. In his previous life, he was just like the subordinate who was framed and killed. Liam has already decided to become a villain, so he does not want more villains in his own territory. For the first time, Liam attempts to kill someone. He plans to use the death of this minister to establish his authority. This is only the beginning. Liam's past experiences have taught him one thing: whether you are kind or evil, as long as you are weak, you will face injustice. Liam's desire to become stronger is increasing by the day. At that moment, something interesting happens. Yasushi realizes that Liam is improving so quickly that he no longer has anything to teach him, so Yasushi comes up with a stalling tactic. In this era, robot technology is highly advanced, and most people operate automatic robots. Yasushi deceives Liam by telling him that if he truly wants to become stronger, he must use a special type of robot with limited automatic functions. Yasushi believes that it will take Liam a long time to master the special robot, which would give him plenty of time to escape. However, the changes Liam undergoes next completely exceed Yasushi's expectations. That's the recap of episodes 1 to 3 of the anime. I'm curious if you enjoyed it as much as I did. Personally, I have a pretty good impression of this anime. A protagonist who gets oppressed is nothing new in anime, but what really matters is the path he takes afterward. Liam doesn't cling to kindness. He embraces a darker, more villainous role, and I find that incredibly satisfying. Since the world treated Liam unjustly, he chooses to strike back with the same ruthless force. I'm really looking forward to seeing if Liam will eventually confront Guide. That shadowy manipulator hiding behind the scenes deserves to feel the full weight of Liam's fists. Alright, that's it for today's anime recap. If you want to know what happens next in this story, leave a keep going in the comments. I'll decide whether to cover more episodes based on your comments. If you're also a fan of fantasy anime like this, feel free to drop your recommendations in the comments as well. I might just pick one to recap next. And last but not least, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you in the next episode.